Hi, my name is Heather. Welcome to Strings and Threads. Today I'm doing a video tutorial on how to do the wide half double crochet bucket hat. And what I'll be using for that is cotton yarn, and I'm just going to use Peaches and Cream. I think it's going to make a lovely choice for a bucket hat. And this one is this bucket hat is very lacy, I guess is the best way to describe it. So it should be nice and cool for when we're going to use it. And the colorway that I'm using is Psychedelic. So that's what I'm using. I have two of them. I am going to be using a 5.5 millimeter, which is an eye crochet hook. And of course a pair of scissors. You may want stitch markers, that's up to you. To get started, we're going to, in a magic circle, don't feel intimidated by a magic circle. This is the way that I learned how to do it, and it's very, I know everybody says it's very easy, but if you know how to make a slip knot, we're actually just going to do what you do to make a slip knot and not pull it all the way tight. Okay, so that's how we do I do the magic circle anyway. I can't speak for everybody else. We are going to work in continuous rounds, so I will be using a stitch marker. I know that you said you may want to use a stitch marker. If you are good at keeping track of your stitches, you don't have to, but I will be using a stitch marker on mine. We are going to start chain 1, and we're going to put 10 half double crochets in the magic circle. I'm going to put the rest of the 10 in and then come back once it's in. I have the 10 in, so I'm going to take the tail and pull it tight. So instead of attaching with a slip stitch to the first, we're just going to work in continuous rounds so we don't get that silly little line. So what we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet in between each of the stitches. Instead of going into where you normally would go into to crochet, you're going to go into the spaces between. That's what this shallow or this wide half double crochet is. And we're going to put 2 of these into each stitch. Now this is the first stitch of the second round, so I'm going to mark it so I know where the end of that round is. So 2 of them into that space in between. So if you're looking here, we would normally go into here to crochet, but instead we're going to go down lower and go between these 2 stitches, and we're going to put 2 half double crochets in here. By the time we get to the stitch marker, we will have 20 half double crochets. Again, we're going to go between the 2 stitches here. I pulled it really tight, so the first couple of rounds are probably going to be a little bit trickier. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot here. So yeah, I went right in. Here's a stitch right here, and there's a stitch right there. I'm just going to go in between them. You can see how they separate here. Put 2 in there. I'll show you one more time and then we'll pause and finish the round. So do you see the space between these 2 stitches here? We're going to go right into that space right in between. That's the wide half double crochet. That's why this is called the wide double crochet bucket hat. I'm going to continue putting 2 half double crochets in between each of the stitches. Again, you should end up with 20 half double crochets by the time you get to the stitch marker, and then I'll come back. Here's how it looks with the 20 stitches, 20 half double crochets. Now I'm going to remove the stitch marker, and in the next we're going to continue with the wide half double crochet, putting it between the 2 stitches, and the pattern for this round will be to put 2 half double crochets in the first space. Now I'm going to mark where the first half double crochet, I'm sorry if I said single crochet, I'm meaning half double crochet. 2 half double crochets in that first wide half double crochet space, and then 1 half double crochet in between the next 2 stitches. We're going to continue that around. 2 half double crochets, wide half double crochets into the next space, 1 wide half double crochet into the next. By the time you get to the stitch marker, you'll have 30 half double crochet, wide half double crochets. So let's finish the round and then come back. So you should be at 30 stitches right now. We'll take this out and mark the first stitch. The next round, the pattern will be 2 wide half double crochets into the first space. Let me mark right away where my first stitch is for that round. If I don't, I lose my spot. And then 1 wide half double crochet in the next 2 spaces. The next stitch will have 2 wide half double crochets, and then 1 wide half double crochet in the next 2 spaces. Continue that around. You will end up with 40 half double crochets in this round. All right, so there should be 40 wide half double crochets. I'm going to take my stitch marker out, and the next pattern is going to be 2 wide half double crochets. Let me mark my first stitch here. In the same stitch, and then one wide half double crochet in the next 3 spaces. I'll do that pattern one more time, and then we'll continue that all the way around. This round you'll end with 50 stitches, 50 wide half double crochets. If I've ever said single crochet on this, I apologize. Please ignore that and replace it with half double crochet. So I put 2 wide half double crochets in that stitch, and then 1 wide half double crochet in each of the next 3 spaces. Okay, follow that all the way around. You'll end up with 50 wide half double crochets, and then come back for the next round. The next round, this is going to be predictable. If you're catching on to the pattern here, it's going to be 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch, and I am going to mark where the first stitch is here. And then 1 wide half double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to continue that pattern around. So it'll be 2 wide half double crochets, one regular wide half double crochet in the next 4. You'll end up with 60 half double crochets by the time you reach the stitch marker. So finish that round and then come back. We're still going to be following the pattern. We need to make this a little bit bigger. It is a bucket hat. We don't want it to be too form-fitting like a beanie. So we're going to continue the pattern. It'll be 2 half double crochet, 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 wide half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then continue that around. The next one would be 2 wide half double crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 wide half double crochet in each of the next 5, and you'll end up with 70 stitches by the time you get back around to the stitch marker. We're still continuing the pattern. So we're going to put 2 wide half double crochets into the first stitch. Actually, before I put another stitch in, let me mark that. There's the first stitch of the round. One wide half double crochet in each of the next 6. Space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to continue that around. It'll be 2 wide half double crochets in the next stitch, 1 wide half double crochet in each of the next 6 until you get back to the stitch marker, and that will bring us to 80 wide half double crochets. For the next round, we're just going to put 1 wide half double crochet in each stitch around. So let me go into there. We're not going to do any of the increases. I'll mark that first stitch. Let me do 2 more with you. So just 1 wide half double crochet in each stitch around, and then come back for your next directions. The next round we're going to transition into going down your head. And what we're going to do is it's not going to be a wide double crochet again yet. We're going to have one transition row where we're going to have the front 2 stitches showing. So you're going to see there's a front loop here in this half double crochet, there's a back loop, and then there's a third loop behind that. We're going to half double crochet into that third loop, and this is going to make a transition so that you can see where the hat starts to come down your head. Let me show you again. There's a front loop, a back loop, and then a third loop behind that. You're going to go and you're going to half double crochet into that third loop. I forgot to put the stitch marker in the first stitch. The third loop, you could see how it makes that nice transition right here. So do that all the way around and then come back for the next directions. So this next section is going to just be wide half double crochets until this middle section is the length that you want. Since we're doing a bucket hat, there is going to be a rim, so I'm going to make this section come down to just below the tip of my ear and then start working on the brim. You can do it the length that you want, and what I'll do is I will do this section and measure it out to about, a little bit below the tip of my ear, and then I'll come back and let you know how long that is if you wanted to do it the same length. So I'm going to continue to mark where the first stitch is. So we're going to do the wide half double crochet. So let me mark that first stitch. I'm not going to do the whole thing with you. I'm just going to do a couple of the stitches to remind you. We're not doing any increases here unless you're finding that it doesn't fit around your head. Then you can add a few increases if you feel like it's too tight. But otherwise, we're just going to put 1 wide half double crochet in each stitch around and continue the rounds until this is coming down a little bit below your ear. I'll come back when mine is at that length and measure it for you so that you can get kind of the general idea about how much we're adding. All right, while I was doing this, I did have to go into the second skein, and I've used quite a bit of it. So I think this is going to be probably just enough, the 2 of them that I had. This is 2 ounces, let's see, 95 yards. So 95 plus 95, that's about what you need, I think, for this hat. So from where we made the edging down, this is a little bit below the tops of my ears, and for me it measures excuse me. A little bit less than 4.5 inches, centimeters. It's a little bit over, oh it is, it's almost 12 centimeters. So we're gonna do another border row here like we did the last one. I'm gonna take my, and make sure you end at the beginning of the round. So you've been moving the stitch marker up, and you notice we do not get a line when we do it that way. So continue marking where the first stitch is, because that's where we'll end and where we'll start new things, and then at the very end that's where we'll end. We're going to do the third loop half double crochet again. So if you remember, here's the front loop, here's the back loop, and then there's another loop behind. We're going to take the loop that's behind. You can see the front two loops, or the front loop, back loop right in front of that. And you're going to do a half double crochet. This is not going to be a wide half double crochet here. This is going to be the border row, where we just go into that third loop and do a half double crochet. So do that all the way around until you reach your stitch marker again, and then come back for the next directions. The next round, I'm going to take the first stitch marker out. We are going to go back to the wide half double crochets, and you're going to put 2 wide half double crochets. I need to put that stitch marker back into the first one. 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 wide half double crochet in the next 7 stitches. And that pattern is going to repeat around. 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 in each of the next 7, 2 in the next one, 1 in each of the next 7, until you get all the way around. And then come back for the next directions. All right, I'm back around. This next round, we're going to put 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch. And then let me mark my first stitch here. And then 1 wide half double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches, and just continue that pattern around. 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 wide half double crochet in the next 8, then 2 in the next stitch, 1 in the next 8, all the way around. We'll come back around when we get to the stitch marker. All right, it's really starting to come along now. The next round, let me take my stitch marker out. We're going to put 2 if I've been saying shallow, I don't mean shallow. It is 2 wide half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 wide half double crochet in the next 9. Let me put my stitch marker in. There's the first one. And then just repeat that around, and then come back around for the next directions. All right, I am running out of yarn. I don't have enough for another round. I'm happy with how it looks like this, but if you would like your brim to be longer, feel free from here on out just to put 1 wide half double crochet in each stitch around until your brim is the length that you want. So to finish it up, make sure you end where your stitch marker is. So to end, very simple. We're going to put a slip stitch into that first stitch where the stitch marker was. cut a tail. Pull it through. And then take a darning needle or yarn needle, whatever you want to call it, and weave in your ends. Let's see how this hat looks. Here's how the hat turned out. I'm really happy with it. I love the bright colors. You can do it in any color, but I do love the bright color. It just reminds me of a really happy summer day. And I know I'm posting this video in January, so it's kind of cold and dreary, at least where I am. Maybe if you're having warmer weather, you'll appreciate this more, but this was kind of a nice ray of sunshine for this dreary, chilly January. I hope you like this. If you do, please make sure you like it. If you're not subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.